Hello and welcome to Around Town, and yes, we're still here. The snow hasn't driven us out. We've been here. We've been out for 3 weeks. We missed you, but we're back again and getting ready for Easter, saying goodbye to the month of March, and into April we go. And with me is Larry Luneau, who is
Dave Luneau.
Dave Luneau. Where am I getting Larry from?
Larry's actually my uncle. I have an uncle named Larry.
Well, I went to school with a Larry Luneau. Yeah. I know that, but I'm sure it wasn't your uncle. But there was a Larry Luneau in Concord High that I went to school with, from Rumlet right through Concord High. I have to see if he's in my yearbook, but I should say State Representative Dave Luneau, and you're getting to be very. If we get back, the Democrats get back in power, you're getting to be kind of powerful there.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think it's going to be important for the Democrats to hold a majority, because we got a lot of work to do, a lot of stuff to undo as well, so we're going to need everybody to come out, certainly for the 2018 elections, and then again 2 years later. But
it's been showing so far around the country that the Democrats have been. A lot now in New Hampshire too, and those we had special elections for them, but the Dems have been picking them up.
Mm-hmm.
I guess whether this is against the current administration in Washington, I don't know, but I hope it is. I'm sure you were at a front row seat yesterday, but not me. I didn't get out.
Oh no, I stayed as far away from Manchester. I had to take my mom actually to a doctor's appointment down in Manchester, and I made sure I got that done in the morning, and got back up here. So
isn't it awful to be so? It's just like every day there's something new. Somebody gonna fire. Somebody gonna. Oh, I've never seen. I mean, I know I'm not very smart when it comes to Washington politics, but I've never heard of an administration doing all this stuff every day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the number of senior personnel changes has really been, I think, astonishing and unprecedented.
And I'm finding right here in Concord, in the State House, it's impossible to get any kind of a return message back from the current administration there. And he was never like that when he first went in. We had a good rapport. Now it's like, I can't get. I this morning I called in there, and he was really busy. This is the 9th message I've left. In about a month and a half. I said, this is ridiculous. John Lynch, when he was there, you never had to do that. That door was always open. If he was there, come on in. But not since Harrison and Missman, it's impossible to get in there to talk to him. I don't know. I really don't know. I know that there was some contention, last week in the State House with that $4 million train thing there. I'm glad that one got through. Yeah,
that was a really nice win by a very thin margin.
Well, I was hyper over my section. I didn't care.
Yeah, no, that was a very good. So this actually puts the rail study, commuter rail study, into the state's 10-year transportation plan, and it's funded with federal dollars.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important for the economy. It's very important for young families. It's very important for our senior citizens. It's very important for the various industries that we have in New Hampshire to be able to get back and forth between the Boston area and the certainly the southern New Hampshire area, and provide the type of transportation services that people are looking for these days.
Well, I mean, the thing that gets me is I've said this before many times, is that when they thought Amazon was coming here, it was very interesting. Oh, we'll have a train service right tomorrow. But yet before, no. But thinking they were coming here, different story. And then all of a sudden, of course, they weren't coming here.
Right.
After, well, they would
Well, whether the lack of rail made the difference to Amazon, certainly it would have been a more positive
Of course it would have been.
thing. But I think in terms of attracting employees to come into the state, because we know we need them with practically a 0% unemployment rate. I mean, it's currently one of the lowest in the country. We have a difficult time bringing business into the state of New Hampshire. So by bringing access to employees via rail, and the rail itself will be attractive to businesses too. So it may not have netted us Amazon, but I certainly think it'll be an investment in our economy.
Well, I hate to say it, but the dunderheads, if they only would realize that Manchester Airport would really benefit, because they can't get international flights in there because there's no rail service.
Mm-hmm.
If they had rail, they could get international flights in there, but they don't think of that. That would really give Boston and Logan a run for their money, but but I don't know. And then of course, I see some of the bills we've got coming up tomorrow and Thursday. It's like, and again, we're back to roll call. And some of the scores, when they comes up, like 300 for a green, 10 red. Now that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, that reminds me of the first term I was in. It was like roll call. But I don't know. Somebody's not doing. Either there's some dissension there somewhere, but.
Well, I think in some cases, bills do get roll called because people want to make sure they get their vote on the record that they supported or opposed a particular piece of legislation. One of the ones that we did get a very, very strong House vote on was a bipartisan bill that I worked very closely with Representative Kirk on, which was the bill to address healthcare, surprise healthcare bills, or it's called balanced billing, in New Hampshire. And having worked on it for nearly 3 years now, including a study committee that met last fall, we identified 3 areas that needed substantial improvement. Number one, protecting the consumer or the patient from getting a surprise medical bill when they sought healthcare services from an in-network facility like Concord Hospital, yet received some sort of service from an out-of-network provider that was out of their control. So we protect the patient so that they won't receive those types of bills. The second thing it does is it establishes stronger network adequacy requirements, so the carriers can't leave off things like services like anesthesia from being required, and so none of us, I don't think, would think we'd go in for any sort of major surgical procedure with anesthesia being optional. And then the third thing is it establishes a dispute resolution process between insurance carriers and healthcare providers that can't agree on a fair and reasonable charge or payment for their services. They now have a way of getting that resolved. So I think we actually took took the lead nationwide in building this out this way. We heard from all of our stakeholders before getting to this, and it passed the House Commerce Committee, and it passed the floor of the House on a roll call vote of 326 to 5.
Wow.
And so it goes to the Senate now, and we certainly hope that momentum will help it along its way. And my understanding is that the governor has agreed to and is enthusiastically agreed to support it when it gets to his desk. So.
What do you do to him? What do you do to that guy with your?
You know what?
He's been quiet.
Yeah.
Lately.
Well, in this case, I think he looked at it and said, hey, this is a good bipartisan piece of legislation. It's something that's good for the people in New Hampshire.
There's like 4 of them in there that have been very quiet this session, and I can't get over it because they were always trying to beat each other up to the microphone, but they have been very quiet, these Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get over it. I don't know whether they've got their tongue or what, but something has quieted them down because there's one lady that she's definitely quiet. I don't see her up there at all fighting anything. And then 3 of the guys, and Kirk was one of them. But boy, it's been interesting. So you must have done something right. Get him quiet because he's always been up there, always up there.
Right.
You know, and it's just been interesting how they're doing it, but. I don't know, but it just, I don't know. Like I said before, we used to meet all the time, it seemed like in my first year. And now, they're meeting, it's all bunching up like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think, part of that I think is our own, the Republican leadership's doing, where they did not hold a lot of sessions during time when we could have taken up some bills, so they let stuff pile up. But the series of snowstorms hasn't really cooperated with making things easier either. So,
well, my committee is all done, unless we get something from the Senate.
Yeah,
we're all done.
Yeah,
and that kind of bores me a little bit. I like being active, like being busy.
Well, the committee work is the best part too. I mean, it's really where you're digging into things.
But like I said, my committee's all done.
Yeah. So we actually had committee meetings in House Commerce today. Took up a couple of Senate bills, and I think I haven't seen all the Senate bills that we're going to be getting, but I think we've been assigned a significant.
Coming over?
I think there's a lot coming to Commerce. Is my understanding. That's what I heard the chair talk about today.
Well, you're not chairman, obviously.
No. John Hunt, Republican from Ringe, chairs.
That's one that's been quiet too.
Chairs Commerce.
He's been very quiet. Usually he's up there on the other ones, but. I mean, I like to see it go boom, boom. You know, get your moving. See all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
well, I think
are you surprised about? This is probably off the track, but the New Hampshire red, the poultry. I never heard of it. I heard of the Rhode Island red.
Yeah.
I never knew we had a New Hampshire red hen. I really didn't. I was shocked. You know, I know the Canaan School supposedly put this in with their representative, but we raised chickens, but we never had. My father, they never mentioned anything about the New Hampshire red. It was always the Rhode Island red. I guess there is such a thing.
Apparently, so it went through the 4th graders from Canaan proposed it, and it went through committee, and it came to the House floor, and I'm all for kids getting some experience with their state government and the legislative process. I think it's an incredible learning experience. However, when a roll call vote, it was either division or a roll call was called for on that. I mean, honestly, you know,
well, you know why it was done.
Well,
you know why it was done.
I know why it was done, right. But really, what the kids wanted to hear was the resounding aye.
Oh yeah,
and that really would have been an experience they would never forget. But instead, it was a pushing buttons and seeing the tallies up on the scoreboard.
Were you a state rep when there was a bill in to make? Oh brother, it was either the potato or the squash. One or the other. There was a school from Derry, I think it was Derry, that wanted, they were there in force too, to pass this to become the official state whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say potato, but I don't know. It was either the squash as the official, something of that nature. I got to go back now.
The official tuber of the state.
And, of course, it didn't pass. And everybody was just, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I don't recall that one.
The kids were just sitting there and up in the galley. They were just, and they had asked the roll call vote.
Yeah.
And it didn't pass.
Yeah. But we do have some big stuff coming up, though, too. We've got House Bill 628 that's coming to the floor either tomorrow or Thursday, and this is the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act. This is what Representative Guile has been working on this for a lot of the past 2 decades, and a tremendous amount of effort has gone into this from a number of legislators, including Concord area representatives, and certainly Senator Feltus has had a lot to do with this as well. And it had come to it started in the House, in the House Labor Committee, which recommended it ought to pass, then went to the floor, ought to pass, and then came to the House Commerce Committee, left the Commerce Committee inexpedient to legislate, which means to dump the bill. We turned that around on the floor of the House with a strong vote of ought to pass, so we defeated the ITL. Introduced a minority amendment that corrected something. This is an amendment that Representative Williams and I had put together, and then it passed, and now it has gone to the House Finance Committee. So now a third committee. Talk about attempts to try to knock this thing out, and the House Finance Committee has really eviscerated the whole bill by introducing an amendment that really is a complete departure and does not provide the type of insurance product that families want to have when they're looking, if they're in here in New Hampshire already, or they're looking to come to New Hampshire. They want to know, should they need to take time off to whether it's maternity or paternity leave, or if they're adopting a child and have a new family, or they're taking care of a sick parent or grandparent, or even if they're or a sick relative, or they're sick themselves. It provides a very limited protection of their wages for 6 weeks, and basically everybody participates in the plan. There's an opportunity right at the beginning when you take your when you start a job to opt out, but it requires all employers to offer the insurance. It ends up being you pay your premium right on your right on your payroll, and it's very easy to do. It's very popular. Nearly, I think, just over 80% of workers across New Hampshire support this, and House Finance has done everything they could to really kill it. So
we got 3 bills tomorrow or Thursday on abortion.
Correct.
3.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. I'm sure I can.
Those will be long. Those are always long, ideological.
Do you find? I hate to put you on the spot, and you don't have to answer this, but when something like that comes up, I'm not gonna. I guess I shouldn't ask for your religious affiliation, but like for me, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Because Catholic.
Right.
And you get this pressure from this, from your parish that you should be doing this. But then, what do you do on the other end? it's a tough thing, boy.
Yeah.
There's always that one instant where whatever.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's one of the things that we do I think a pretty good job of in the Democratic caucus is we don't our Democratic leader, Representative Shurtleff from Pennacook, does not tell people how to vote on these things.
Good.
And that's very different than what some of the things we've seen.
Then the death penalties, another one.
Yeah.
You've been getting emails on that?
I haven't been getting a lot.
I've been getting them on it, and boy, I tell you, once again, and there again, church is against it. They want to get rid of the death penalty.
Well, I'm against the death penalty too. It's not an issue that I've worked on. I mean, you sort of have to pick the issues that you're going to work on, but there's been a lot of effort over a long time, particularly from, I think, Representative Cushing, as Rennie.
Oh, that one. Oh, yes.
Has been a very strong leader in looking to repeal the death penalty, and actually the policy to repeal it cleared the Senate last week. Last week, and it's now coming to the House soon. So, so I think it's going to be interesting what happens there. But
it's tough because there are some instances where we should have it if they have it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this is a thing where there's a lot of passions behind it. I think people need to listen to the debate. I'm against the death penalty. I think the evidence out there does not suggest that it provides any more of a deterrent factor than life in prison, and certainly the costs of a death penalty sentence far exceed that of life in prison. So,
I mean, the thing is, if it's something that happened into your family, is that going to give you a second thought about it? I mean, it's like with the gun bill. I mean, the guns. I mean, all this school stuff that's been going on, and all these teachers. It's like it's really, you've got to, boy, it's tough.
Yeah, I think with the death penalty, certainly I feel for the victims and relatives of victims, but I think we've all seen interviews saying, "Oh, I'd rather see the person spend the rest of their life in jail and have to reflect on this every day," and that would be the punishment. So yes, I feel for victims, but I don't feel that the death penalty is really something that the state of New Hampshire or the United States should be involved in. But on other issues such as gun safety, I think that's something that we all need to be looking at in hopefully a bipartisan manner, because it's bipartisan approaches that people say develop the best policies, but for sure develop policies that will withstand time. So we're not just bouncing back and forth when leadership changes, then the policy changes. I think having some sort of stability and having to work in a bipartisan way to develop policies that people say, "Yep, that's good," and that's something that I know is going to be around for a while. Yeah. And I think gun safety is an area that's important for all of us to look at, given the stuff that's happening around the country every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you really gotta pay attention and really read up on this, because if you just go in there and, but there again, it's like, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of research. I sit and talk to people. I go and ask questions to people, because I very rarely hear from my section over here on the Heights. I did get one call from a lady about the Northern Pass. She was happy to know where I stood. She said, oh, now I feel much better. I said, well, that's fine. I'm glad you called me. Because I get maybe 1 or 2 calls a year. And that's it. Nobody seems to care, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they think whatever, but it's you gotta really pay to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's EverSource and things, the energy there with Bow Power Plant and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's really. And then what's bad. I don't know about your committee, but I've seen. Unless I know I'm doing there, but see a chairman of a committee get up there and down his own committee member.
Right.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute, there's no bipartisan effort there. And that's like, where's the partnership working here or something?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that last week with transportation. It was interesting. It's like, whoa. I miss transportation. I really do. I'm hoping to go back
mm-hmm.
maybe next year if we get back in again.
Mm-hmm.
But we're coming to a close of around town, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come in, David, and get ready for another big session tomorrow. And then, of course, as we look toward the filing period, the first day of June,
mm-hmm.
somewhere
mm-hmm.
there.
First part of June, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's right around the corner, believe it or not, even with snow coming. So.
Gosh. So with that in mind, if you have any questions, I've said before, give him a call. If you're in his
Anytime.
district of Ward 5 in Concord, and of course Hopkinton, Christopher, out that way for him, and he'll do what he can to get you the answers that you want. So anyway, thank you to my director over there, Ian Marx, and hopefully we'll be back soon with Around Town and no more snowstorms.
Thank you.
But thanks again, and we'll see you at State House.
You got it. We'll see ya.
Okay.